What is up? We are back for week 4. Boom or bust. Sully, your team's playing right now. How's it going?
Should be blowing the doors off of them, but we're not. Cousins with the terrible pick that the Saints turned into an Olave touchdown, which personally is okay by me, but
I didn't know that. I have Olave and a bunch of lineups, so
there you go. Good stuff. Yeah, he's a couple of catches and a score, and yeah, we're doing okay. So I got one eye there, but I'm focused here.
Man, I love Olave. He is so good. And I know, Bryce, we talked about it all off season. I know you're a big fan of Olave as well. Did you guys anticipate this many rookie wide receivers making an impact this early in the season? Because I think the narrative in the space was we had some good rookie wide receivers, but not that we were going to see this type of production from them this early. I think it's a good sign for the class, whereas, we knew it wasn't deep at running back and there wasn't really tight ends or quarterbacks. The wide receiver was really the position that kind of saved this rookie draft. How are you feeling on those, Sully?
Obviously, you have to be happy if you have these players on your roster. I think what we're just seeing, and it's kind of been the last few years, is that these players are just coming into the league pro ready. And I don't know if it's the offenses that they're running in college or the schemes that they're playing, but you can look over the last 3-4 seasons and you look at any dynasty rankings right now, they're just littered with mainly first, second, and maybe third year guys. And I think I didn't see Olave doing what he's doing. I liked him, but he was probably my third or fourth guy. But I know Bryce was high on him, and I was a Drake London guy, and he seems to be doing okay. But yeah, they're producing and they're getting the opportunities. So, Bryce, what's your take on the rookie wide receivers?
I kind of expected some of them to be really pretty good at the beginning, like Garrett Wilson, which I wasn't as high on Garrett Wilson as other people, but I still thought he was good. I thought Trey Burks would be doing a little bit better than he is, but it's still early. London, I knew would be involved. Olave, I was kind of on the fence about because of the Jarvis Landry being there. I didn't know. I thought maybe Olave would get maybe 5 targets, kind of more of a Jahan Dotson volume rather than the premier, all the volume. So he was a little bit of a surprise because I thought maybe he'd be pretty good this year and then really take the next step next year. So it's nice I don't have to wait on that because he was my second favorite wide receiver in this class, right behind Drake London. So yeah, these guys are coming out of college, immediately making an impact in the NFL. And luckily we saw a lot of these wide receivers land in situations where they could immediately become guys that could make a factor, not only on the real football field, but on your fantasy lineups as well. So I think we just got lucky with a lot of these landing spots.
Do you guys think it has anything to do with the rules being way more lax now than they were in the past for wide receivers? Obviously it's a lot harder to play defense now than it was 10 years ago. Do you think that has any factor with these guys being able to come in and produce right away? Because this is a lot of wide receivers. We never seen this many wide receivers, and it's not like they weren't ready or good wide receivers, but there was always a learning curve when you got to the NFL. Now it just seems like, I don't know, they can't be guarded because of defensive rules. Is that a part of why there's so many over the past 4, 5, 6 years that have come in and immediately produced?
I think so. I mean, a lot of these guys are coming out of college at 21, 22 years old, and they're coming in the NFL and getting smacked by linebackers that are 28 and 50, 60 pounds more muscle on them. You can't really be doing that anymore. These wide receivers can run through the middle and know that they're, somewhat more safer than they would be, 10 years ago or things like that. So yeah, I think it definitely plays a factor. I mean, it's all subjective, right? Players might just be getting better, but the physicality, especially with linebackers and safeties, not really being able to lay the hit stick down on some of these guys to keep people safe, I'm sure plays some sort of factor in early production from these young wide receivers. Sully, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I think it's more how they're preparing these wide receivers and how NFL offensive coordinators are more adapting more to the players that they have versus their playbook. But I think it's definitely part of it. You used to always talk about, can this wide receiver beat press coverage once he makes it to the next level? Well, that press coverage really isn't what it used to be. And, you can't tie these guys up off the line like you used to be able to. So to Rick's point, it's almost like an extension of the college game where you see more and more defensive backs playing 4, 5, 6, 8 to 10 yards off of the wide receiver off the snap. That's got to benefit them regardless if they're a rookie or not. So yeah, I'd say for sure the style of the game has got something to do with it.
Yeah, my thought is that the narrative has been all these wide receivers are preparing better for the NFL or whatever, but it's not like the cornerbacks and defensive backs aren't preparing better now than they were 10 years ago as well.
That's very valid.
All right, over on Facebook, Bryce, who we got here?
Castillo.
It's like he's the first question every week.
Every time, yeah.
Pittman
like ready,
Jr.,
waiting.
Metcalf, and Devonta Smith. We need to pick 2 in standard scoring. Pittman's locked in for me. Yeah. But I think I am sticking with Metcalf here with the touchdown upside, red zone usage. And I think Smith's going to be kind of hit and miss. We're going to see big weeks like last week, but there's going to be A.J. Brown weeks. There's going to be Dallas Goedert weeks. There's going to be running game weeks. So I think we're going to see some inconsistency there. I'm going Pittman and Metcalf. Bryce, what do you do?
I'm going Pittman and Smith. I think the inconsistency we're going to see from Smith this year, we're also going to see with Metcalf. And it's just based on the team. Like if you put Metcalf on the Eagles, it's a smash Metcalf, right? I mean, the Eagles have much more touchdown upside, but obviously Metcalf's the bigger body that even when he is in the red zone, when his team's going to be there fewer times, he's like got a higher percentage, but I just think it kind of balances each other out. So I'll just lean the guy that's kind of been on a 2-week hot streak so far this year, and the team that's just like scoring at will with Smith. But it's close, especially in standard scoring. Sully?
Yeah, I think it is close, but I'm going to go with DK Metcalf and Pittman here as well. I think that the Eagles are actually going to face the best defense they've seen all season today, and I'm interested to see how that plays out. Pardon me. But to Rick's point, I think DK, if I had to bet on one of them to score, it would be DK. And standard touchdowns reign supreme. So I'll go with Metcalf and Pittman.
Is this also Castillo?
I believe
because this is a good question, right? So I wouldn't typically say to sit Lamar, even against the best defense, whatever. But if you have Jalen Hurts, you're fine. If you want to play Jalen Hurts, I don't have a problem with playing Jalen Hurts over Lamar. Both of them are playing out of their minds right now. I do have Lamar as my number 1 quarterback in my weekly ranking, so I would be starting Lamar, but I would not be. I don't think you're crazy for playing Jalen Hurts. I think they're this week interchangeable. So that's my opinion on that. Sully, what do you think?
They're my number 1 and 2 ranked quarterbacks this week. Lamar's 1, Hurts is 2. So I'd go with Lamar, but yeah, this is like chocolate or vanilla for me. Bryce?
Yeah, I guess I'd go Lamar. I mean, it's a coin flip for me as well. You need to trade one of these guys. I mean, there's no point of having this question every week. If it's a super flex, then it'd be awesome. But obviously it's not because you'd be starting both. So right. I would be looking to trade one of these guys. Heck, I'd try and trade them before the 1 o'clock game. Unless he's got
Josh Allen too.
That'd be kind of fun.
I have Josh Allen sandwiched between the two in my rankings. So
there you go.
That'd be a tough roster you got there if you have him in there.
Yeah, you should. I would be trying to trade one of those guys. No matter this is. If I'm debating the starting one, I'd be trying to trade one of them for sure.
I agree.
Scott says, good morning, guys. Flex spot, half PPR. Richie James, Alec Pierce, or Russell Gage. Sully, where are you going with this one?
As of right now, it would be Ricky James, believe it or not. But I want to see who's actually active for the Bucs. So if Julio can't go and Godwin can't go, then it's Gage. But right now, I'm going to go James. How about you, Bryce?
The problem is we're not going to get a chance to see because they play tonight.
Oh, you're right.
So
then I got to go with James, personally.
Yeah, probably. I really like Alec Pierce. Like, he's the number 2 option on that team and on a secondary that's just terrible. Like, but Kadarius Toney's out. Kenny Galladay's not really involved. I think Richie James is definitely a safer play. And with these guys, that's I think I'd go that way. Rick?
I mean, I think Richie James has upside as well in this spot.
Yeah.
Kyler Gordon playing the slot. I'm expecting Richie James to come out of the slot quite a bit. Kyler Gordon is still learning that position, right? He's learning outside and inside, and he's been torched a couple times by the slot receiver so far this year. Richie James was getting targeted pretty well without Wandale and Tony and Shepard and whoever else is out for the New York Giants. So I expect him to have 10 targets today, and I'll take that over either of the other two guys. Michael says, start 2 running backs, Akers, Sanders, Jeff Wilson. Bryce, where are you going with this one?
Who are the Niners playing tomorrow? Does anybody remember?
The Rams on Monday.
The Rams on Monday.
So Akers and Wilson play each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to go with
Sanders
Akers.
plays the Jags.
I'm going to go with Sanders doesn't have a great matchup either. I'm going Akers. It seems like he's now getting majority of the touches. Even if he doesn't come out in the field first, he's getting way more touches than Darrell Henderson at this point.
If that fumble didn't ruin it.
Yeah, I don't think it will. I'll go Akers and Sanders. Sully?
Sanders is kind of the lock of the 3 for me, and it's either Akers or Wilson that I go back and forth on. I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson here by a slim margin. Rick?
Yeah, I think I'm actually agreeing with you, Sully, and I love Cam Akers, but still that's one, that offense isn't doing what we want it to do yet, even though they're not like the worst in the league, but he gets that touchdown last week, has a chance for the second touchdown, and then fumbles. I don't know. The way this year's been going in that backfield, I just don't know what they're going to do this week. I'm confident Sanders and Wilson are going to get around at least 15 carries. So I'm going to go with that and see how this whole Akers thing kind of plays out, because I feel like he had the momentum, but it seems like that can go away real quick in that backfield, and that's what the scary part is for me.
For sure.
Good afternoon. Who should I start? Cooks, Dotson, Palmer, McKenzie, or Collins? Start 2. Well, Cooks is a lock for me. Anybody not starting Brandon Cooks?
I'm definitely starting him.
I think you have to.
So then for me, it comes down to Dotson and McKenzie.
I don't mind Palmer either with Keenan Allen out.
Yeah, Keenan Allen's out again.
But the Ravens stink on defense, so I think I'm going to go with McKenzie here. I think he's just going to have 6 to 8 catches, and he's a good yak guy, so I'll go with him.
I think that's my play too. I think McKenzie is my play there as well.
I'm going Palmer. He gets 8. He's gotten 8 and 9 targets the last 2 weeks with Keenan Allen out. I just like the volume better. Even though McKenzie's on the better offense, he's probably the 3rd option, where Palmer's the 2nd.
Can't argue that.
Yeah, I don't think McKenzie's a 3rd option.
You think he's above Gabe Davis?
I think people like Gabriel Davis more than Josh Allen does. Ertz or Goddard?
It's hard to say. Davis hasn't really played a ton, but we'll see.
Sully, Ertz or Goddard?
Goddard for me, but I'd like them both. Bryce?
Yeah, this is kind of just a toss-up for me. I'll go Goddard.
I'm Goddard too, but I agree with you guys. It's real close. So
yeah,
Arizona's supposedly getting healthier with those guys like Rondale Moore potentially playing, so he could take a little bit out of the middle of the field. So, and Goddard's a lock.
Yeah, I think I had Goddard as my number 4 tight end this week.
It's a good spot to have him.
Tanyan or Conklin? This one's fairly easy for me, but Bryce, we'll let you start.
I'll go Conklin. I mean, the volume he's getting is insane. I'll go Conklin. Sully.
I don't like either of them this week. That said, I'm not so sure Zach Wilson's going to target Tyler Conklin like Joe Flacco did, but I'm not sure what Zach Wilson's going to do. So I'm going to go with Tanyan because if I have to bet on one of them scoring a touchdown, it's Robert Tanyan. So I'll go with Tanyan.
Sure.
I'm going Conklin. I think for me, it's a pretty good.
He's good, man. Like
he is good. I wish he still wore this uniform.
Yeah, he's nice. I like watching him.
You guys have an all right tight end there too. He just needs to get in the swing of things.
Yeah, that's fair.
Zeke, Sanders, Jacobs, standard scoring, pick 1. What happened?
Freaking Kirk Cousins.
Sucks.
3rd and 1. Missed this. No, this guy just missed it. I'm about to see it right now, but it looks like this was right through this tight end's hands. Oh gosh, hit him right in the freaking numbers.
right after I said that.
Is it Irv?
No, it's a different guy.
Oh, it's Johnny Mundt.
I was gonna say
hit him right here, like right here.
I gotta go. Bye. We'll see you.
I was gonna say if that literally happened right after I said that, we can
be like, shut up, Rick.
Shut
the hell up, Rick.
So Zeke, Sanders, or Jacobs, pick 1, Sully. Standard
pick
scoring.
1. I am going to go with who the Cowboys play.
Washington.
I'm going to go with Ezekiel Elliott. Bryce?
I will also go Zeke here. Yeah, I'll go Zeke as well.
And who is this over on Facebook, just so we know?
I can't tell. They're not in the Dynasty one. They must be in the redraft.
Gotcha.
Redraft.
This is Zeke for me as well. But man, how
like
we have fallen, right? It's like
that's pretty.
They're literally in that spot where like any week they could score like 3 points or they could score like 20, but they're like, Conklin or Goddard. I think we're all gonna easily go Goddard, right? Like nobody's not playing Goddard
by a wide margin for me.
It's definitely Goddard there. And Marco says, who should of the rest should put in my flex?
He asked.
Also got Hawkinson. It's half PPR. I forgot that.
He's only had the Cooks, Dotson, Palmer, McKenzie.
I mean, if Hawkinson is in there, Hawkinson is a heavy play for me this week. I would probably go Cooks and Hawkinson. They don't have all their wide receivers are dead in Detroit. I think they are going to run heavily, but in the pass game, Hawkinson is the guy that's alive today. So I would, if Hawkinson's in that one that you asked earlier, I would go Cooks and Hawkinson over Cooks and McKenzie. Like I said, I would go Hawkinson there. What about you, Sully?
I'm going to stay with McKenzie and Cooks, but I would consider flexing Hawkinson if that's an option. He's probably his tight end anyway, but if you have an opportunity to flex him, then I would flex him. And I just saw that pass to the tight end, and that was brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm assuming he's got, these are start 2 wide receivers, and then he's like, out of these options, out of who you didn't pick, who would you put in the flex? Would you pick anybody else? And then Hawkinson. That's what I'm assuming it is. So you would go Rick and Sully. You'd probably go Cooks, McKenzie, Hawkinson, and I would go Cooks. I would go Cooks, Palmer, Hawkinson. But I like Hawkinson second as well, like you do, Rick. Out of all,
but Rick is bang on. Hawkinson has to be in your lineups if you have him because they don't have anyone to catch the football.
Yeah, that's
Josh Reynolds, Josh Reynolds.
Which he's played pretty well.
He's not bad
this year, but
maybe Cephas is relevant.
See that. So he did. Cephas, that's what it was.
Yep.
It's in one of my DFS lineups, so I hope he is.
Rico says Dobbs, Burks, or Dobbins in the flex. I think I'm ready to go Dobbins now. I think after getting a week under his belt, I think that after being convinced by
what we did to you last week,
after these 2 assholes convinced me to play Dobbins last week and he pooped the bed. I do think I'm ready for him to go in this week, though. I think that after getting a week under his belt, he's going to get a bunch of touches. I don't see a reason to play Burks right now. If you have other options, but I could see the argument for Dobbs over Dobbins, but I'm going Dobbins. Bryce,
if you watch, I watched that game, and it was so weird how they did. It's like Dobbins played the first half. Like they didn't just like sprinkle him in here and there. It's like he played the first half heavy, and then the second half was like Justice Hill. And he looked fine the whole time. So it was kind of a weird because he had all of his touches in the first half. And then the second half, they just like didn't want to give him the ball. It was all Justice Hill from there, who also played very well. So he probably is going to earn himself some touches in that lineup. But Dobbins is just better, and I think has the easiest path to get more touches and a touchdown this week. So it's Dobbins for me as well. Sully?
I'm going to go with Romeo Dobbs. I think it's a pretty darn good matchup in a situation where you have a Hall of Fame quarterback that now has trust in a receiver. So I see him getting a decent amount of targets, catches, and potentially scoring. You know, if you play the narrative that the Patriots take away your best weapon, he's not that. So I think he's a great secondary option for Rodgers all the game long, and I think he'll do well. So I'm going to go with him because I think Dobbins is still going to split that backfield.
So this son of a gun talks me into putting him in my lineups last week.
Yeah.
And now he's like, nope, I'm done with him. Marco, you're all good.
These options last week.
Marco, you're all good. If you stick around long enough, you'll hear my bad English. I promise. Sarah says half PPR. She needs a flex. Marquis Brown, Gabriel Davis, AJ Dillon, Jeff Wilson, and Curtis Samuel. This is pretty good team. Pretty good squad you got there. I think it's Marquis Brown. I mean, we saw the target share last week and the domination that he put up in that offense. I think they're kind of getting clicking now. I think the connection between him and Kyler's coming back. It's Marquis Brown by a decent bit for me for this flex. I think if it was somebody else, it would be Curtis Samuel for me. Bryce.
I agree. It's definitely Marquis Brown, and then Curtis Samuel would be a pretty easy second for me as well. So I agree. Sully?
I know we're only 3 games in, but the reason I'm starting McKenzie in that previous question is the defense in which they're playing. The Ravens are giving up more points to the wide receiver by anyone and by a wide margin. So if Gabe Davis is active, which it looks like he's going to be, I'm going to go with him. Yep.
Gabe Davis versus Marquis Brown? All right.
I'll take the $5, put it down.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Easy money.
I lost betting against Marquis Brown last week. So
did I take Marquis Brown last week?
Yeah, I took Drake London, who also did
Brown's questionable as well. Moore's coming back. Dortch is still going to be involved. Ertz is going to be involved. I don't think we're going to see 16, 18 targets or whatever we saw last week again. Plus the Panthers are an underrated secondary. I think he's in tough.
So we're caught up. I have a good one. You could start one at the flex. Cam Akers, James Conner, or Jerry Jeudy.
Cam Akers, James Conner, or Jerry Jeudy. It's James Conner easily for me.
Me too.
That's who I've got in there. So
I think
next week to have. It's the only league I have a good problem to have. But
next week it might be start Kirk Cousin or Nick Mullins.
Where's Kellen Mond at?
Cleveland.
I know.
Cleveland.
I know.
Behind Joshua Dobbs.
Is Josh Rosen still kicking around in Cleveland?
I don't know. He might be on the practice squad. I have no clue.
You guys
made a lot of money for doing nothing.
That guy kind of got the short end of the stick as well.
Yeah,
he did. He got probably the worst 2 possible situations in the first 2 seasons of his career.
Yeah, that was a bad Eagle defense rest of season. I mean, I think the Eagles defense is pretty solid. If you have them, it's probably a good one to just keep playing until their defense isn't showing what they're showing.
Yeah,
I don't have any leagues with defenses, so I don't know how the fantasy production is correlating with the way they've played in games, but
it was really good last week. They had like 9 sacks or something crazy.
Yeah.
But they had quite a few picks against. They had at least 3 interceptions in the Minnesota game, so they're turning the ball over. That team has arguably the best offensive and defensive line in football right now. So I think you could do a lot worse than the Eagles rest of the season. But I'm the same. I don't have any leagues that have a DST in it.
Devonta Smith or Christian Kirk for our boy Albert here every Sunday morning. We appreciate you, Albert. Sully.
This one's tough just because of who they play. They play each other. Normally, I would be Christian Kirk for sure. Zay Jones is questionable. Where does Slay go? Does Slay take zone? Zay away. Like, he's probably not going to go into the slot. Lawrence is going to need to throw. He likes Christian Kirk. I will go with Christian Kirk, but I like both these guys this week. Bryce?
Yeah, I don't like the matchup for Christian Kirk either, but the consistency and the volume is just, you can't pass it up. Like, I will go Christian Kirk, but it's close. Right.
And on top of that, Trevor Lawrence is starting to figure it out, I think.
He definitely is.
I think he is starting to figure it out. I think he's going to be damn good. I'm going Christian Kirk as well because I'm more confident in his usage. You know,
yeah.
I'm not confident that week to week it might be a 4-target game for Smith this week.
Right.
Next week he might have 12. I think Christian Kirk's going to be in that 8 to 10 range damn near every week. That he's healthy. So I'm going with Christian Kirk as well. Sully, you got any big decisions for this week?
Not really. I have a lot of guys that are just banged up or not very good. I have a couple of rebuilding teams, so those lineups are pretty straightforward. And the other ones, I don't have a ton of depth. So I'm in a couple of guillotine leagues, so I've got some kind of interesting decisions to make there. I got Allen Robinson on a couple, and I have Darnell Mooney on a couple, and I keep thinking that these guys eventually are going to figure this out, but I just don't know if it's this week, so I'll shy away from them. I have Olave in the lineup this week because of that, which is great so far. And then I have a couple of leagues where I'm really deep at quarterback, and they're super flex leagues. Like I'm sitting Kyler for Hurts and Justin Herbert this week, and to the point earlier that you made about needing to trade one of those guys in the one quarterback format, I got to trade one of these guys in the super flex format because that's driving me nuts every week too. So, but no, my teams are the ones that are good are cut and paste and hope the guys don't get hurt because there's no depth. And the ones that are bad, they're bad. So what about you, Bryce? What are your tough decisions other than the Connor one you talked about earlier?
I mean, I don't really have too many. I'd almost have to look at some of them. Like, I kind of was in a lot of situations where it's like, do I put Chris Godwin in and hope he plays tonight? But I've decided I'm not going to do that. I guess I have one here. Let me pull it back up. Would you put in Breece Hall or Cam Akers or Curtis Samuel?
Curtis Samuel.
Curtis Samuel over both?
I think so. I think it's probably safer going with Breece. But I think Curtis Samuel, I mean, we saw him, the whole Washington team took a dookie last week, right?
Right.
So I'm not really concerned about him having the down week. I just think his usage, the way they're going to use him, we're going to see more of weeks 1 and 2, maybe not 20-point, but 15 to 20-point weeks just because of that usage. So I like Curtis Samuel a lot. I think he's like a Debo light from last year. With the usage he's going to get. So I'm playing him in most spots if I've got him. I just don't see that many players that I trust more.
Yeah.
What are my options? Samuel and who, Bryce?
Samuel, Akers, and Breece Hall.
Ugh. Breece Hall's, we don't really know what's going to happen there. He started to take over that backfield, but is he going to get targeted like he did with Flacco? Probably not. So that's a downside. Akers is a question mark. And Samuel plays Dallas, and they're legit on defense. So I think I'll go with Curtis Samuel, and I'm assuming it's a PPR league. He's probably going to catch a few passes as well as run. So I'll go in there as well. But I like Breece Hall too. I think he's about to take a step.
Yeah, he and Carter both had, like, I think Breece had 11 targets last week, and Carter had 9. So Drew Flacco targeted him 20 times. I don't see that as much from Zach Wilson. I see him trying to push it downfield. But usually in this league, it's easy for me. I don't have any questions because I've got DeAndre Swift and Amon-Ra, but obviously made my decisions a little bit more challenging this week.
Who we got over there on Facebook, Bryce?
I can't. It's not showing up on the things, but I'm willing to bet that it's Kidder. Because he's the one that always tags our names.
It's either Nate or Taylor. Taylor normally comes over to YouTube though, so I'm guessing it's Nate.
I can't see it. I go to the comments and it's not. None pop up other than Castiles.
So Carr, Rush, or Wentz pick 2. I'm going with Carr and Wentz. Sully, what are you doing?
Carr for sure. And I have Wentz ranked higher, so I'll go with him, but I don't like it at all.
Carr and Wentz. I don't think I've ever eaten sushi the next day in my life. But I had
never
sushi
had
last
leftover
night.
sushi.
It doesn't make it to the next day.
Well, we all got hibachi as well.
Yeah, I did too. Yesterday.
So I had filet and lobster hibachi. It was bomb. And then
last night,
yeah,
I did too. I had shrimp and steak, and then I only had half a sushi roll because I shared it with Delilah. So
I don't know. I saw the pictures on. I saw the. Yeah,
no,
exactly.
She got 2 rolls herself, and then we had a roll to share.
So thanks, Delilah.
But it's all hers is all cooked sushi. She's
eating for multiple people too.
Yeah.
We have to order special. Like we have to make sure it's cooked or it's imitation crab because obviously she can't eat raw fish.
Right.
But it's.
I was licking my phone though when I saw those pictures of the stuff getting posted. I was like, "Damn, that looks good."
There's a place close to us, Rick, where they're owned by like people from Japan and. It's like in a town you would never guess, and they have some of the best sushi I've had.
I should have posted some pictures of my food last night. It's my favorite. It's my favorite. Well, it's my favorite place in Fort Wayne, but it's got my favorite roll that I've had anywhere. Whether it's been sushi spots in Vegas or whatever, they've got my favorite roll. I didn't even get it last night. Nate got a couple of them though. I'm guessing that's who it is. I'm guessing it's Nate because Taylor normally comes over here, donates money, and tries to over to YouTube and donates money, and then I go and pick up a phone and go out to sushi with him. Anthony says Vikings know that their unused timeouts don't roll over to the second half. Yeah,
he forever trolls.
Does he know? Does he know that the Niners are supposed to beat the Bears and the Broncos too? I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
he should shut up. That's what he should do.
Jesus.
Just saying.
Well, it's funny because if you were actually like watching the game right now, I bet you'd be screaming at them to use their timeouts.
I didn't even see it, but we kicked a field goal. We're up by 6. Who gives a shit? I can't. I'm sure I'd be upset. My phone is blowing up about it. So
Rico wants to know if London is going to outperform AJB this season, and the simple answer to that is no.
Barring injury, no.
Yeah, I think AJ Brown's going to have a huge year. We're seeing the maturation of one Jalen Hurts right in front of our eyes. It's been fun to watch, man. That team's, as much as I don't like the Eagles, that team is fun to watch. I'm excited about watching that team grow as the season progresses.
All those receivers in Tampa are expected to play tonight. Godwin, Julio, and Gage are all expected to be active.
They are? Really? Godwin's expected to be active?
Yeah. According to NFL Network just now.
I'm going to have to do some tweaking. That's good.
Tweak.
I've got him on a couple teams where I'm hoping to not win a game this year. So
I have him on a shared roster that faces you this week, Rick.
My team there's pretty good.
It is good there.
I'm putting Godwin in over Alec Pierce. Thank you. Thank you.
Braden says Juju, Pierce, or Damien Harris. Sully.
I'm going to go with Pierce here. I think the Chargers are a god-awful run defense as it is, and Bosa's out for about 2 months. So I'll go with Pierce.
I just want to clarify, is this Alec Pierce or is this Damien Pierce?
Okay, I read it as Damien, so that's a good question.
I'm assuming it's Damien Pierce.
I am too.
And obviously I did.
Clarify. Yes.
If it's not, then I'm going to go with Juju because I think Juju is relatively viable against a zone defense, and that's what he's going to face tonight. So I think he's going to be needed, and I think he's going to be more relevant. But Damien Harris is a distant third, regardless of which Pierce that is. It could be Ted Pierce.
Ted Pierce. It's Damien. Okay, we're good. It's Damien.
Okay. So, yeah, that's where I'm going. Bryce?
I think I'm going to agree with you, Sully, on this one. Hey, a little piggyback off this question. Would you trade a 2024 first for Damien Pierce?
A 2024? Yeah, probably. Why not?
And you're assuming it's going to be back half?
Probably.
I mean, if I need running back real bad, I would probably.
What if you don't need running back bad?
If you don't need it bad, I would save the first. You're selling the first at the lowest value possible, and this honestly may be the highest value we ever see Pierce. So it's if you really need it, then I'm fine with it. But if you don't, I would save that pick, wait for it to gain value, and then you'll be able to get something more out of it later. So
I really don't need. I mean, it's the league. I got Devonta, Saquon, Akers, and James Conner. So
I wouldn't do it then.
Yeah,
because when are you going to start him?
I denied it. I denied it. I was just asking because
I just don't know when you're going to start.
I like his usage, but he just seems like he's going to be like a better version of Damien Harris in the sense of like how many touches he gets because he's going to get more volume.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I think it's fine though if you need him, right, and you're going to start him. But if you're not going to, then I think you just hold that pick and wait for it to gain more value. Anthony says, morning, fellas. I've got Dylan, Pierce, London, and James Robinson, PPR. Matt, I started Cook this morning. Would you also trade away Eckler for Mixon? Okay, so let's break this down first. We've got Dylan, Pierce, London, and James Robinson. So I'm assuming this is just one, and I think you guys know who I'm going to pick.
I think I'm going to agree with you.
James Robinson?
Yeah. Not this week.
I'm starting James Robinson.
Not this week.
I don't just in case anybody watching hasn't realized this yet. Like I don't care about matchups very much. My studs play. James Robinson is a stud. Just hands down. A stud. Don't agree with that. Don't agree with that. All he's done is produce. Outside of Urban Meyer not giving him touch.
He's been a very effective volume-dependent running back his entire career. So when he has a ton of touches, which he's had, he's been good. But efficiency-wise, he hasn't. So he's again in a tough matchup this week, and I think they're going to throw the ball a hell of a lot more than run the ball. So he has some potential to catch some passes for sure. I would have started Cook as well, and I can understand that. And I can understand that you're a little upset about that as the way this half played out, but that game's not over yet. But if I'm picking between Dylan, Pierce, London, and Robinson, maybe I am picking James Robinson just based on what's there. And there's no way I'm trading Eckler for Mixon, who is the most inefficient running back in football right now.
Yeah, I'm keeping Eckler as well. I mean, we're only a few weeks in. He hasn't been getting the touchdowns that he got last year, right?
Yeah, he's not playing as much either.
We had to understand that regression was going to happen. We've talked about the whole AJ or the whole brain fart.
Which guy? What team?
The Green Bay Packers. Aaron Jones passed, right? There was a lot of talk about his regression in touchdowns. Eckler's was even more like a clear sign that he was going to have a regression in the touchdown space. And that's happening, and he's still being used. It's not as much, but Mixon doesn't get used enough in the passing game in a PPR to rely on that. And then he has been inefficient so far this year. I think he gets better, and I think he's good, but I'm holding Eckler. He can win in multiple ways. And that's what I'm really looking for in those running backs. Bryce, anything to add to that?
I really don't. I don't know, like on the Mixon and Eckler, because I really think the rest of their career is going to follow a similar suit where we're just going to see regression. Like, I think their best days are definitely gone, but it's like at this point, it's like a lateral move for me. But if I'm like trying to win, do I want to go for Eckler, who I'm like kind of dependent on the touchdowns, or do I want to go for Mixon, who he gets 2.6 yards a carry, but it's like they feed him no matter what. Like
he gets 60 carries for sure.
He's getting all the touches, and touches are opportunities. So it's like, I think it's even. Like, I think you could just go, who do you like more, and just pick them at that point. Like, there's nobody that neither of them stand out above each other is kind of how I feel about those two guys. I probably lean Mixon a hair more personally, but I couldn't blame anybody for going Eckler.
See, I disagree. Eckler can beat you even without the touchdowns when he gets those high volume pass games, right? I mean, he could get 14 targets in a week, but
he could. But it's just like I think the consistency with Mixon's touches is something
I don't really know what's going on with the coaching for the Chargers this season. They seem to be a lot more relaxed and not as aggressive and willing to go for it and play up tempo as they were in the past. Like Eckler's snap percentage is way down. Sony's getting the goal line carries. Eckler hasn't been getting targets until they've been blown out in the last, quarter of the game. I think 2 of his games this year, he's had 6 or 8 catches in the fourth quarter when they've been out of it. So, but I think Rick's right. I think both of them get better, and I'll still take who I think is the better fantasy back, and that's Eckler, but it's close.
Full PPR, choose 1 running back, 1 wide receiver, and a flex. We've got Bryce and Ramondre at running back. Bryce, who are you going with, Bryce or Ramondre?
Bryce for me.
Sully.
Yep.
Bryce for me as well. Ramondre, that whole takeover might be taking place right in front of our eyes.
I wouldn't be surprised if Ramondre catches like 6 or 8 passes this week, though. That's the only pause I have there.
Wide receivers: Dobbs, Dortch, London, Sutton, McKenzie, or Mac Hollins. Dobbs, Dortch, London, Sutton, McKenzie, Mac Hollins. Bryce, which one are you going with there out of the wide receivers?
I could just go the wide receiver and the flex. It's pretty easy for me. It's London and Sutton.
Sully.
Sutton is my wide receiver for sure, and I am going to flex McKenzie.
I'm with Sully on this. I've agreed with you way too much today.
It's almost uncomfortable.
We need some divisive questions in the chat.
Can we get some London and McKenzie action?
Yeah. How's my credit? Like, I gotta owe a ton. Like,
no,
is my money still good here?
I think
you owe the most. Am I winning the most?
Well, you must be. If I think I suck and he does suck, so he must be.
Sully has only lost 2. Rick has lost 3, and I have lost 4. So actually, Sully, you're up.
But I will take. What are we doing, McKenzie against London here?
Yeah,
I'll do that.
I'm not gonna place my bet there. I think that's a toss up. I think those guys are real close, so I'll wait till I'm a little more.
Okay.
You scared him off because you told him he hasn't won that much.
Yeah.
Oh no! I mean, if you guys see
the
rest of my losses, these $5 bets,
the $5 ones are not so bad. Yeah,
they're not so bad. Abraham says Justin J better have a good second half, and I would say that we probably all agree. I just don't happen to have any because the leagues that I had him in are the ones that ended in the offseason. So unfortunately, I don't have any Justin Jefferson, but we're going on 3 weeks of lackluster pedestrian Justin Jefferson. Are we starting to get worried, Sully? You're the Vikings fan. This offense was supposed to change the way Justin Jefferson was used into the Cooper Kupp role.
Yeah.
What's going on? And are we worried about Justin Jefferson at this point? I haven't taken him out of my top tier yet, but I'm feeling like after 3 weeks of lackluster production, it has to be a thought and consideration.
Yeah, it's definitely a concern. After week 1, everybody was declaring him the greatest thing in the world. And then he's combined for less than he did in week 1 and weeks 2 and 3. To me, it's Dalvin Cook is a huge part of this. He's not running the ball very well. So we need the run to set up the pass. Adam Thielen has been sort of lackluster, but Kevin O'Connell was supposed to be this guru offensive play caller, and his play calling has been suspect at best. Apparently he burnt a timeout at the beginning of the half here, or the end of the half in this week, but the Vikings aren't a hard team to defend right now. You cover Jefferson with a guy and another guy over the top, and force Cousins, who's been really bad this year, worst numbers of his career, to beat you. So I'm not worried about Justin Jefferson, but I'm worried about the situation Justin Jefferson finds himself in because of the rest of the offense is sputtering. And to your point, it should be way better. Irv Smith is dropping walk-in 65-yard touchdowns. They're just not playing well. I think they'll get better. And guys like Justin Jefferson aren't going anywhere. So will he have a better second half here? I hope he does too, but I don't know.
Bryce, what are you thinking here? Are you a little bit worried about Justin J?
Well, I just watched Kirk Cousins overthrow him by about 10 yards on this last play, but no, not really. If I don't own him, I would almost hope this keeps happening so I can go try and buy him.
I was just sitting there thinking the same exact thing.
What Yeah, Sully just hit the nail on the head where it's like the whole rest of the team isn't doing well. And if you see one dude that is, that's all you got to stop. It's like if you go against the Titans and you stop Derrick Henry, your chances of winning are much better. It's kind of like that with Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
So eventually they're going to put it together. I think we're going to see a lot of these teams, especially with veteran quarterbacks, start to put things together. So I'm not worried about him at all because he's getting open like all the time. Kirk Cousins is running for his life in this game.
And Sean McVay is the brains behind the Rams offense. Stop telling me about Kevin O'Connell being their offensive coordinator. That guy is not the reason the Rams won the Super Bowl.
I agree.
Should I stick with Kirk in that Philly rain? On bench, I have McLaurin or Bateman. So are you playing McLaurin or Bateman over Christian Kirk? Sully, what are you doing?
I'm not, just based on volume, and I think that volume will still be there. So I'm still going to go with Christian Kirk here. McLaurin's sort of a bit of an afterthought, and I think Wentz is going to be on his back a lot in that game. And Bateman is big play guy, but not a lot of those plays. So Christian Kirk for me. Bryce?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know it was going to rain in Philly. I'd like to look a little bit more. Is it going to be a heavy rain or light rain?
There's a bunch of rain in a bunch of games today.
It'd have to be heavy for me to not go.
Kind of got some hurricanes coming through on that East Coast.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll stick with Christian Kirk unless the rain is supposed to be like the Bears San Fran game week 1. Rick?
I mean, I really need to pull up. I think I have McLaurin ahead of. I'm probably going Christian Kirk. It's tough. I like McLaurin a lot. I think he finally started getting some momentum last week. But yeah, I'll go Christian Kirk.
You're going to like what you see here soon, Sully.
Jeff Fields says, good morning again, guys. Pick
Welcome
one
back,
wide
Jeff.
receiver, one flex, full PPR, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Khalil Herbert. I'm leaning Cooper and Herbert, especially if Godwin and Julio end up playing tonight versus Kansas City. So Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, and Khalil Herbert. We need one wide receiver and one flex. So 2 of these 3. Bryce, who you going with?
Sheesh. Who do the let me see who they play. Kansas City. Okay, I'm going Mike Evans.
Kansas City plays Tampa Bay tonight.
Yeah. Yes. And Mike Evans is good. Like, he's not hurt or anything.
No, he was suspended, right? That's why he missed last week.
Yeah. I'm going Mike Evans. And I think, man, I really want to have a way to put Khalil Herbert in my lineup, but I think I just have to go with Mike Evans and Amari Cooper here. I'll go with the wide receivers. If you need a safer play, I'd probably take out Mike Evans and throw in Khalil Herbert. But I'll go with the ceiling plays with Mike Evans and Amari Cooper. They all have great ceilings, though. I mean, it's not like it's like super far off, but I'll take the wide receivers. Sully?
Man, I have a hard time not getting Amari Cooper into my lineups. His target share, his productivity.
He's my number one out of these guys.
Freaking good, right? Like, but Evans is Brady's guy in the red zone, and Khalil Herbert just smashes. I think I heard some number about that in his starts, he's averaging 18 touches and just going off. So I'll go with Herbert and Cooper.
Sully, I think that's how I'm
again
going too. I think we're agreeing again. Like, I love Mike Evans, but I do agree Amari Cooper and Brissett are finally getting that connection going, and the last 2 weeks have been really freaking good. And the problem with Mike Evans is he could get 2 targets this week. One of them might be a touchdown, but if it's not a long touchdown, then you've got that down week from Mike Evans. He does have that ceiling that Bryce was mentioning, though. It could be, 3 catches for 60 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, that's just the weeks that he can have. But I think you get the same thing out of Cooper. I think Khalil Herbert versus a Giants defense that is better versus the pass than the run has that same upside that we saw last week, right? Maybe not, 180 yards like he had rushing or whatever against Houston, but multiple touchdowns, 100+ yards. Like, Herbert's got that upside that we've seen. It is funny you were saying, Sully, I like if Herbert keeps playing back up to David Montgomery, he's going to end up having more 100-yard rushing games than he does starts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
he has just been good. And I've said, you guys know, Bryce is all off season. What was I saying? Khalil Herbert's better for this Bears run zone running scheme than Montgomery is. So Montgomery's good. But if I was the Bears, I'd be looking to trade Montgomery, see if you can maybe get a wide receiver and let Khalil Herbert run away with his job. So I'm going Cooper and Khalil Herbert, as is Sully, and Bryce is wrong.
Finally.
Full PPR, pick one, Jamal Williams, James Robinson, Damien Pierce, also tight end, George Kittle or Zach Ertz. I'm going Jamal Williams out of those three running backs. Talk about another guy that just produces whenever given the opportunity, going back to his days in Green Bay. And then I'm going Zach Ertz over George Kittle. So Jamal Williams and Zach Ertz for me. Bryce, where are you going?
Did you see it, Sully?
I did, yeah.
What happened?
Oh, no, maybe I didn't. I don't know. Go ahead and tell me.
Kirk threw behind a little bit on Justin Jefferson on an easy touchdown. I mean, he was open too.
Oh, he missed it? Because I saw the long play down the field.
He was like right here, like he was running the other way, and like it was a catch that Justin Jefferson made.
Cousins has been brutal.
Yeah, he threw behind, and Lattimore and Jefferson are going at it, like just all talking. But
good. I hope he punches him like Mike Evans did.
Yeah.
Bryce, what are you doing here?
I'm going Jamal Williams. Like Rick said, I like the matchup. I mean, he's not gonna have to split carries. I mean, I'm sure Craig Reynolds will be a little bit involved, but he's not as good as Jamal Williams is. And Jamal Williams, I mean, if you didn't watch Hard Knocks or if you don't know anything about him, like his energy is something that any team could use on the field. So a guy I think is going to be out there a lot and get fed. And then I'm going George Kittle. I know that he has been hurt in the past and hasn't really produced lately, but if he's healthy and I like Jimmy Garoppolo better for George Kittle. I like he's got the top tier talent. So I'm going to start him if he's 100% healthy over Zach Ertz. What about you, Sully?
Just agreeing with Rick yet again. We're going with Jamal Williams and Zach Ertz. I do have a question about Jamal Williams. How do you guys think he's used? Do you think he just gets everything? Or does he does he keep his own role? Or does he become the Swift role? I just saw that pass. That was awful. And where does Craig Reynolds fit in? Like, does Craig Reynolds take the Swift role and Jamal Williams keeps doing what he's doing? Like, who gets the most touches? Williams?
I think Jamal gets the majority of the touches. I think it's different when it's Swift and Jamal because both of those guys are good.
Yeah.
Then if it's Jamal and Craig Reynolds, I think Jamal is well ahead of Craig Reynolds. He's going to be involved to some extent, but Jamal Williams is far better. He's going to get the majority of the touches, I think.
Yeah, I think the roles are gone with Swift gone because like it's not like nobody's going to fill a Swift role or play like a Swift. So it's like now it becomes Jamal becomes the 3-down back and Craig Reynolds is like the guy who spells him when he's tired. I think that's.
Do you like Reynolds as like a flex this week?
No, I would not have Reynolds in my lineup.
Not against Seattle?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't. That doesn't mean that
you need to be the guy who has Kamara and Swift and guys like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I can't see a way to.
You start Allen Robinson over him?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, Allen Robinson's had 11 targets in the past 2 weeks, I think. He had one that didn't even count because they blew the play dead when he would have had a touchdown on a weird play. He dropped a touchdown last week, so he's being used in the end zone no matter what. Last week we saw Cooper Kupp have a human day, right? I think he had 14 and a half points. So that offense just as a whole last week wasn't on its norm.
Kupp dropped one too, right?
Yep. So, he's getting more acclimated to that offense. He's being used. He's being used in the red zone and the end zone. That's important for a receiver. So I'm still fine with Allen Robinson in the lineup. But Jeff needs to know full PPR tight end decision, Conklin or Njoku. Sully, why don't you go ahead and start us off with this one?
I have Njoku ranked higher this week. I like what I saw last week out of him. If it's not Amari Cooper, it's David Njoku for Jacoby Brissett, who historically in his career has targeted the tight end at a high rate. And there's so much unknown with Zach Wilson under center for the Jets. So I'm going to go with Njoku here pretty comfortably. Bryce?
Yeah, I'm comfortable with putting in Njoku as well. I think he's got more raw talent, obviously, than Conklin, and we know the certainty of like maybe it's not quite certain, but we know that he's going to be used by Jacoby Brissett because we've seen it now. Whereas we're not sure about Wilson and the Conklin connection. So
yeah, I think the biggest key is that the Cleveland offense needs Njoku, whereas the Jets offense doesn't need Conklin, right? Because they've got Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, Breece Hall, Michael Carter, and Cleveland has Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, and then Amari Cooper. And
Zach Wilson might like CJ Uzama more than Tyler Conklin too. We don't know, right?
Right. And that is a question mark. But just looking at the depth charts of those teams, like Cleveland gets like shallow real quick, right? Like they don't have the depth chart that the Jets has, which is
isn't that crazy to say? Isn't that unreal? I was just about to say that.
Non-PPR running back, Aaron Jones or James Robinson, wide receiver, Kirk or Sutton. Pick one of the leftovers to flex. I'm putting Aaron Jones and James Robinson in the lineup, and then I'm going with Sutton.
Aaron Jones is my running back. Sutton is my wide receiver, and trying not to agree with you. Does it say standard non-PPR? Yeah, it's James Robinson. Sorry, got to agree again. Bryce?
I'll disagree because I'll go Kirk instead.
Oh my God! Speaking of Kirk, Kirk Cousins sucks.
Sutton.
Kirk instead of Sutton. So you're starting both running backs and Christian Kirk.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it prime time in London right now?
I mean, it really is. They're on an island game, right? That's kind of prime time.
But if it's prime time, this totally explains it.
Did you see Jefferson wide open in the corner?
Yes, I just did. That's why I'm getting so upset.
I mean, damn, you're seeing it like 10 minutes later than him.
I know. My stream is total. My hamster doesn't run fast Sunday
Jeff
morning.
said, yeah, both of those were from my crazy 8-man league.
Love those.
Gabe Davis, Kareem Hunt, or Garrett Wilson, PPR flex. Sully.
Davis for me.
Bryce.
Travis Ratliff.
Travis Ratliff? What up, Travis?
Thanks for the question.
Man. Travis has been supporting us since day one as well.
I really want it to be, you know what? I'll go Garrett Wilson.
I like it.
Garrett Wilson.
I'll go You're going to say Gabe Davis. You're going to agree with me, Rick, aren't you?
I think I'm going Kareem Hunt. I don't think I'm agreeing with either of you. I think this would be Kareem Hunt if I need a safer
Kareem Hunt
play.
Second for me.
And then Garrett Wilson if I need a ceiling play. And if you haven't noticed, I'm not a Gabe Davis fan.
I'm not necessarily a Gabe Davis fan either, but it is what it is. When you have a quarterback like that, I think it elevates your abilities. So
just
against
traded
the secondary like that.
Just traded Michael Carter, Dalton Schultz for Pitts.
This is a dynasty league. That's a freaking win.
I think you win either way, really.
I don't care what the format is. I like it.
Yeah, redraft is nothing like super crazy, but
I think Schultz potentially could be gone anytime with that injury, right? And Carter's fading away, I believe.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is Breece Hall's, he's going to take over more and more of that backfield as the season progresses. So Michael Carter gets less valuable as the season goes on, and Dalton Schultz, I don't know that he's going to make it.
Agree.
Joe Lindsay says 0.5 PPR, Dobbins, Sanders, or ETN. 0.5 PPR. Bryce, where are you going with that one?
I will go with J.K. Dobbins. I think he and Sanders see similar amount of touches, and I just like J.K. Dobbins better as an athlete. So I'll go Dobbins. Sully.
Sanders for me, I just think there's more relatively consistent projection to touches, and I like him in that game regardless if they're up or down. So I'm going to go with Sanders. Rick?
I am going to go with Dobbins as well. For all the stuff already mentioned. Van says, Olave, great start. Fire football. We agree. We love it.
We do.
Anthony says that I didn't really sound sincere when I said we love it, but we really do love it. I was just kind of going through the motions and didn't want to be off-putting, but we definitely love Olave. It's awesome to see. Sure. The rain isn't bad right now in Philadelphia, Anthony says, so that's good. Lofton says DK, Kirk, or Dobbs. Choose one at wide receiver. I'm going DK Metcalf. I know a lot of people don't like Geno Smith, but I think DK he gets targeted a bunch too. They're gonna have to throw, and I just think he's the superior talent. So I'm DK here. Sully, what are you doing?
Christian Kirk for me, and it's not a DK Metcalf's not a talented guy. I think volume plays into it for both Kirk on the upside trailing and DK on the downside, probably in a slower game. So I'll go with Christian Kirk because I think the opportunity is going to be there. Bryce?
Yeah, I'll go Christian Kirk as well, just based on the volume I predict.
Sully he wanted the $5 bet here. He wanted me on the side of Solo, didn't you? I'll take it.
What, you want to go DK against Kirk?
I'll do DK against
I'll
Kirk.
do that one too.
I thought that's why you looked. You were looking up, and then you looked right back down at the camera.
I was thinking about Nick Mullins. Is what I was thinking about while I was looking up. Brutal.
Patty or Stafford? Sully.
Who are they playing again?
Tampa Bay for Patty, and Stafford has
the Niners. Yeah, I can't see myself going against Mahomes here, so I'll go there. Bryce?
Yeah, I'm starting Pat Mahomes pretty easily.
I was wondering why we were thinking.
I know. I was just waiting.
I was like, wait, am I missing something? I started going through, like, is there another Patty?
That's what I was trying to just clarify. That's why I asked that.
Help. I need running back advice. Start 2, Henry, J-Rob, Herbert, Penny, or Wilson Jr. Another stream said to start Herbert and Penny.
They had Derrick Henry just not in the.
I'm starting Derrick Henry and Khalil Herbert is who I'm starting out of these.
You need to turn notifications off for the other stream.
Yeah, you stick around, Fame Tiger. We will help you. Hopefully,
good Lord.
Hopefully, they're not.
Is it Herbert or J-Rob for you, Rick? Did you?
It's Herbert. It's Herbert for me.
So, I might start Henry, J-Rob, Herbert, and Wilson over Penny.
I am.
Right? Like, I don't understand that. So it's easily Derrick Henry for me and Khalil Herbert as well.
Latavius.
Wait, another stream said to start Herbert and Penny. I thought it said Herbert and my brain did not connect that they told him to start Penny.
Yeah.
At least they got the Herbert part right.
Yeah, but then they chose the.
I don't want to talk shit about anybody else because I didn't.
I will.
I didn't
That's
hear
horrible.
it. See it,
I will.
I'm tough in my Ohio State shirt.
It's a rugby shirt at least. Yeah, it's Henry and Herbert for me as well.
It's Henry and Herbert pretty easily for me. Full PPR. Are you starting DJ Moore, Romeo Dobbs, or Ayuk at the flex? I'm starting Ayuk. I'll just say it right now. You guys know I like Ayuk. I'm starting Ayuk. Romeo would be second for me. DJ Moore, I just wrote and talked about in my wide receiver rankings, is about to fall out of my top 48. Baker Mayfield was not the answer for Carolina. Carolina will be looking for another quarterback next year, so it'll be like 12 quarterbacks in 8 years or something. But Ayuk, I like a lot. He's in there for me. Sully, what are you doing?
Did you see that little interview with DJ Moore and they asked him about getting open? And he said, open is open. So basically he said, I am open. So he kind of pooped on his quarterback. I want this to be DJ Moore, and it should be DJ Moore, but it's not DJ Moore. It is Brandon Ayuk. But believe it or not, when Sam Darnold comes back and takes over that job, DJ Moore will be better. Bryce?
Yeah, it's Ayuk for me at this point. Baker Mayfield is a wide receiver 1 murderer. Like, I'm really sad Matt Corral got hurt because it would have been at least fun to see somebody come in there and not be at best mediocre. So it's Ayuk for me as well.
Baker stinks.
He's horrible.
Famed Tiger says QB help. Lamar Jackson or Justin Fields, similar players. I think we're being trolled. I think we're being trolled because there's no questions here. It's Lamar Jackson, and I'm the biggest Justin Fields fan in the world. Judy versus Garrett Wilson. Sully.
I got to go with Jerry Jeudy, better quarterback, I think. And yeah, I got him ranked that way. So I'll go with Jeudy over Wilson, but Garrett Wilson's legit. Bryce?
Yeah, I'll go Jeudy as well. I mean, I've had some discussions with people like on the Facebook page and everything about Jerry Jeudy, and they're like, he stinks. He's not even worth a second-round pick.
Come on.
He put up 20 points week 1. He hasn't been fully healthy since. Week 2, he got hurt in the first quarter. Last game, he only played 59% of the snaps and still saw 6 targets in that short amount of time he was on the field. Jerry Jeudy's on the field. He's going to get close to 8 targets. I'll still go Jerry Jeudy with the better quarterback as well.
Latavius frickin' Murray.
Zay Jones is inactive.
Oh,
so many inactives. He said not being trolled. Sorry, Jackson has a rough matchup. Thank you for the advice. Yeah. It's Lamar Jackson. It doesn't matter the matchup.
He's matchup proof.
Yeah, he's a guy that's matchup proof, so don't hesitate throwing him in there. He also said they expected Petty to have a huge game and for Henry to have a bad game. That may be true and that may happen. But you got to trust the process over, if that does happen, you look back and you say, well, my process was still right. The process is Derrick Henry's in your lineup. And then if you didn't play Herbert, but you played Robinson, then, there's at least a discussion to be had there. But yeah, you gotta put him in there. So where did I miss off? Right here. Jazz says, Oofda, Minnesota. Why bother to have Ty Chandler active?
Why not?
I have no idea. TBSF. Oh, we were talking about who played that game. TD Saints. Who scored for the Saints? Was it Olave again?
Latavius freaking Murray. Revenge factor.
What the poo? DK or Dylan at flex? Sully.
It's a tough one for me. I think I'll go with DK Metcalf here, but I like both options for what they are. Bryce?
I'll go DK Metcalf, a little bit easier. Patriots defense has improved a lot on the run defense. I think it really opens the door for Aaron Jones more than A.J. Dillon this week. So DK Metcalf. Rick?
Yeah, it's DK for me as well. Man, these running backs, are they going to continue to be this frustrating for Green Bay? I mean,
running back in general is pretty shitty.
I steered clear of the Green Bay.
Is it even week thing for Aaron Jones? Is that what we're looking at here? He was poo in week 1. He was awesome in week 2. He was poo in week 3. Do we get awesome Aaron Jones in week 4? I could use it in a couple of my leagues because I have a lot of Aaron Jones, but
I'd like all the Packers to be poo.
I think we see a lot of Kyle Duggar against Aaron Jones this week if he's active.
So he's their top guy. Is that what they're taking away this week?
He's like that corner. He's like that safety that is like almost like a hybrid, like kind of almost a Jamal Williams, or I'm sorry, Jamal Williams, Adams kind of safety. Not as good. Yeah.
Do y'all like Evan Ingram with Zay Jones out? I will say that I do. I think that they're going to need somebody to step up. Zay is getting a lot of action, and I would say that Ingram is probably in line to get a decent portion of that, with Marvin Jones also getting a decent portion of that. I don't know who else is going to step up in the absence of Zay Jones. So I do like Ingram, but he's still like tight end 13 to 16 probably for me in that range, until we see that start to convert a little bit more. Yeah, it would just depend on who else you've got at tight end. But I think he's startable. I'm starting him in one of my leagues. But Bryce, what are you thinking?
He says that 3 more down. He's got Ingram, Knox, and Conklin. I'm going Conklin. I had told people before the season started that Knox was more of a product of the situation rather than his talent. So I steered clear of them. I would almost argue that Ingram and Conklin are more talented than Knox. So I'll go Conklin, then Ingram, and then Knox. So, Sully?
First answer is I do like Evan Ingram, period. And I do like him with Zay Jones out. I'm very interested to see if this is finally the week that they try to get ETN more involved in the passing game. With that being said, I'm going to start Conklin over those other two as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Evan Ingram with Zay Jones out. I think Evan Ingram gets more involved, and we have the question marks with Conklin. He hasn't had a down week yet, so one of those has to come, which isn't good, like actual analysis, but like the down week is coming for Conklin because every tight end has one.
Well, it has to. He's not Kelsey or Kittle.
Right.
Or Andrews, right?
We're gonna see that. That doesn't mean it's gonna be this week, but I like Evan Ingram with Zay Jones out. Zay Jones getting a lot of work, and me looking like an idiot because all these injuries that popped up with guys out that weren't there when I recorded all my ranking videos. Assholes. Richie James, Rashad Bateman, or Noah Brown for the flex. For me, it's Rashad Bateman. Sully.
Yeah, he's a big play player with a big play opportunity. I kind of like Richie James, but I think Bateman is the better option here. Bryce?
This could be a freaking crazy game. Two decimated secondaries,
right,
with Buffalo and the Ravens. So give me any potential of that high scoring game with Rashad Bateman there for sure.
Yeah, I want that back and forth for sure.
We all do.
That could be awesome. That
should be a fun game to watch for sure.
A little bit of rain there too, but I don't know if it's that bad.
Is it time to start worrying about Jonathan Taylor? I picked him at 101. He was amazing week 1, but Indianapolis has kind of been falling apart, which is destroying Taylor's upside. I think it's just been bad play calling by Indianapolis. I'm here in Indiana. I'm in Colts Nation, right in the middle of it, and people want Frank Reich fired. Like that is the big cry right now, is that Frank Reich gets eliminated from the coaching duties in Indianapolis. I'm fine. I'm not worried about Jonathan Taylor yet. If we get another week or two of mediocre play, then it starts to become a concern. But it's only been a 2-week bad stretch, and players have that. We've seen it many a time from players, and then watch them explode for the next 8 weeks. I'm not worried yet. Are you, Sully?
I'm not. I just saw the fake punt from the Vikings, and it made me happy. I'm not. But I think what you have to look at is almost every running back drafted and redrafted in the first round this year has been horrible so far, right? JT's been disappointing. CMC's been disappointing. Eckler's been disappointing. Derrick Henry hasn't lived up to his potential. Dalvin Cook sure hasn't. So I think it's a product of JT was good in week 1. Michael Pittman missed week 2, and Jacksonville sold out and stacked the box the whole game against him. He's still a good running back, and he's going to be okay. But I think Rick has got it. The play calling is suspect. We'll see what happens, but I don't know what's your option. Really, is probably a poor answer here too. Is you can be worried about him all you want. If you took him at 101, he's in your lineup every week. Bryce?
Yeah, that's why I hate picking in the first 3 in a redraft league, but I wouldn't worry about it too much because if that offense wants to, that division is still wide open for whoever wants it. So with the Colts having arguably the best receiver and running back, definitely running back in that division. Well, I guess Derrick Henry's theirs is arguable, but they're going to have to feed Jonathan Taylor if they want to be productive. So I wouldn't start worrying about him because the volume is going to be there. So usually
Plus Jonathan Taylor was one of the lowest scoring RB1s in the last 8 or 9 years last year. So he might be a little overrated as well, but here's what it is.
Perry Williams says start 2, Deontay Johnson, CD, Devonta Smith, Elijah Moore, or Stevenson. I think this is fairly easy, Deontay and CD. Bryce, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's Deontay and CD for me as well. CD and Devonta Smith both have that boom bust kind of play, but I like the talent with CD, especially after the catch. So Deontay Johnson's the easiest one for me because his volume is just insane. So.
Do you know how many yards after the catch Deontay Johnson has this season?
How many?
5.
Yeah. It's always sideline catches. You ever notice that?
Well,
it's always he's getting the sidelines.
Screams to quarterback play, right? So CeeDee Lamb for me, for sure. It is Deontay Johnson, but I really wanted to say Devonta Smith.
Hey, if Steelers lose this week, we see Kenny Pickett next week?
I don't think so, because you have to look at the Steelers' schedule coming up, and they're just going to kill Kenny Pickett if they do that. They have like Buffalo and a bunch of other like murderers row of teams. I think you got to sit on it, ride it out, stink, and start him after the bye in like week 9.
You think Tomlin cares about that stuff?
I think he cares about killing his first-round picked quarterback, or else he would have started him already. I think he's probably a better coach than me, so we'll see what he does.
I mean, probably.
A little bit, hey?
Probably.
He's my second favorite in the league. So.
No losing seasons is pretty good.
Well, that's about to change.
Should I trade away CEH, Metcalf, Pitts, and Olave to get Kelsey and Devonta Smith?
No.
Should I trade away CEH, Metcalf? No. I would stand pat.
No.
I would also stay with what I got there. Dynasty is not close for me, obviously, but
choose one at tight end, Pitts or Kittle. I'm going with Pitts.
Pitts.
Sweep it.
Matt says he appreciates us, and we appreciate you, especially 100%. If you smash that like button. Elijah Moore or Josh Palmer, PPR. This is Josh Palmer for me. Bryce.
Yep, Josh Palmer for me. He's on my radar, especially when Keenan Allen's out.
Sweep it again, and Guyton is out for the season as well, so it's another passing option down. So Palmer as well.
I will say that Elijah Moore gets a little more interesting because we did see the connection with him and Zach Wilson. I don't know that it's going to happen in week 1 of Wilson back, but like going forward, we could see Corey Davis kind of getting pushed out, who has played pretty well really to start the season, but we could see him start getting pushed out for the 2 young wide receivers. Choose one at the flex, ETN or Damien Pierce. Sully.
I got to go Damien Pierce here. I am intrigued by ETN this week, but again, the Chargers defense gives up running plays like crazy, so that's where I'm going. Bryce?
Yeah, Houston seems pretty adamant to get Pierce pretty heavily involved in the run game. So even though he's a very limited PPR, back out of the backfield option, that 15 to 20 carries is too juicy for me to pass up for maybe 3 or 4 catches from ETN for maybe a couple of 10, 15 yards.
I'm going Damien Pierce on that one just to be clear. I switched it over before, but that was kind of my sign to Bryce to get on with it. I want to start Jamal over. I want to start Jamal over Lenny. Wanted to do it last week, but everyone said I was dumb, and now Swift's out. What's your guys' take? I don't know why or how we don't have both in our lineup if possible. I would not argue against if you wanted to start Jamal over Lenny this week, but I'm trying to figure out how you have to have some pretty good running backs not to have both of them in there, I think. Which you may be pretty deep, but yeah, I mean, I don't think you're dumb. I think last week, with Swift in still, it was a thin play. But now I think Jamal is, I can't even remember what I had him ranked in my rankings, but he's up there. He's in a good spot. Sully, what do you think?
I think these are 2 guys that could finish in the top 10 this week. So I agree. I think they got to be in your lineup. I'm probably going to start Jamal over Lenny. I can't remember how I ranked it. I think I have Williams ranked higher. But yeah, please let us know who you're flexing and stuff, because I'd like to see how we can help you get them both in there. Bryce?
I'll go Fournette. I mean, last week starting Jamal over Fournette would have been kind of crazy because Swift was healthy, and then you couldn't just predict that Swift would get hurt and Jamal Williams would have 2 touchdowns like that. Leonard Fournette's just too involved in the pass game for me to not want him in there. And now since Godwin and Mike Evans are probably both going to be back, I think that just opens the door more for Lenny Fournette to get those dump downs.
Doesn't that take his targets away?
I think that the defense now have to focus on that, where like who did they have to focus on last week out of the passing game? It's like their best option now might be Leonard Fournette. Their best pass option might have been Leonard Fournette to focus on. So I think that actually maybe opens the door a little bit more for him to stretch the field.
I have one league where there's kickers, and it's the Scott Fishbowl, and I have Greg Joseph from the Vikings. I decided to sit him today.
Oh no, he's going nuts.
He's going nuts. I have no idea
about 15 field goals today.
So. I am top 100. I'm 83rd overall in the Scott Fishbowl right now. I'm undefeated.
Good on you.
But I'm not even first in my division.
I'm forever terrible in that league. Doesn't matter.
But the guy that's ahead of me in the division, we're facing off this week. I was
we'll get him.
Even this morning projected to win, but he did have Tyreek Hill start the other day, so I got a little bit of an uphill battle. But if Derek Carr can get it together, I should be all right in that league because I've got Josh Allen and I've got Deshaun Watson coming back. And
it's Russell Wilson. It's Russell Wilson for me. I have Dak and Russell Wilson as my quarterback. So guess how I'm doing.
Wait, did we answer? We didn't even answer this one. We got talking about the
sorry, that's
full PPR. Javonte, J. Rob, Khalil Herbert, Curtis Samuel, pick 2. I'm going Javonte and Herbert. Sully.
Correct. Agree. Bryce.
Javonte and Herbert for me as well.
Whoa. Denver, Philly, or Dallas for defense?
I'm going to use your analogy, Rick, of who's going to turn the ball over the most. So I'm going to go with Dallas. I think they sack the quarterback, and I think Wentz pees down his leg and throws at least 2 or 3 interceptions in that one. So I like the Cowboys D.
I'm gonna agree as well. I'll go Dallas D. Too many. They let up 8 or 9 sacks last week. Not saying Dallas will get that many, but 4 sacks doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility, along with a pick or 2.
It does sound though like the weather in Philly is horrible.
Someone said the rain that wasn't that bad earlier in the chat.
I know, but my notifications are coming up saying avoid playing them if possible.
Bad weather in Jacksonville. Oh, it's in Jacksonville.
No, it's in Philly.
Rain. Oh, that's weird.
I think it's in Philly. Anyway, it's 54 degrees. Wind is 13 miles an hour, and it's raining heavily, apparently. Anyway, I don't know. Check your local listings for more. I don't know.
This is Patty Mills. Patty Mills says the weather is bad in Jacksonville. So
is the game in Jacksonville
or Philly? I don't know.
I'm about to look it up real quick.
T-Law or Matty Ice? With that weather, whether it's in Jacksonville or Philly.
It's in Philly.
In Philly.
Okay, so with that weather, I'm probably going Matty Ice. If it's that bad, if we're being recommended to sit these guys, if it's only going to get worse, which is what I'm kind of thinking they're probably saying, is that it's going to get worse throughout the day as that hurricane continues moving up the coast. I'm going Matty Ice. Then I would have to sit T-Law but that hurts, right? Because we've said Christian Kirk a bunch today. Now we're getting this news that this game is going to be a lot more unpredictable than before. So keep an eye on that. Some of those decisions may have to be swapped out if that's how bad the weather is going to be in that game. Did you guys all agree with Matty Ice there? I'm moving on. You guys are kind of on phones and
yeah, I was trying to find the weather. He's right. 15-mile-per-hour winds. It's going to rain the whole game. So I think I'm going to agree with Matty Ice. With that being said, Michael Pittman Jr. is back. So Matty Ice is going to play much better.
I agree.
CMC or Javonte? I'm going CMC.
The answer should be Javonte at this point, like the talent and wise, but the usage just isn't there. Like I think CMC is I can see the wear and tear it's done on him. Like he just doesn't look like he did when he was having those crazy numbers, where Javonte is averaging like 6 yards a carry, but for some reason they want Melvin Gordon to be used like that. But it's CMC until that usage it gets a little bit better for me.
Because they don't want Javonte to end up looking like CMC is probably why
that is definitely fair.
And Baker is garbage for CMC as well. So, but it's still CMC.
Is it okay to play Conklin over Schultz this week, Sully?
Yeah, I have it ranked that way. That's what I would do. Bryce?
Yeah, Schultz eats when Dak's the quarterback. I cannot blame you for Conklin whatsoever.
Just worried about Schultz's knee. I don't think he necessarily makes it through.
Yeah, I'm playing. I'm fine with playing Conklin over Schultz as well. I have Deontay and CD in my flex with Chase and Sutton and 1-2. Should I start Jamal Williams over one of those? I'm starting Jamal Williams over both of those.
Which one would you take out? Deontay or CD?
I would take out CD just because I don't trust him as much.
I'm going to sit Deontay and put in Williams. I'm going to roll with CD. I think
Deontay is the safe play and CD is the ceiling play. That's what I would do. I would look at my lineup and say, do I need the safe play? Do I need the ceiling play? I think CD can get you 25, 30. I don't think we're going to see that out of Deontay and Mitch Trubisky, but I think Deontay's going to get you 12 to 15, right? Whereas CD could get you 4.
Gallup's back too, so that's a good point. Right, so there's a little bit more spreading of the offense around for Cooper Rush.
I think I would move Sutton to the flex and then put in Jamal Williams over him. I would try and have Deontay, CD, and obviously Chase has already played. That's what I would do.
I think I just trust Sutton over CD from a floor perspective, and they have similar ceilings, I think.
I really think Denver gets it together this week, and I know that that's probably foolish, but I do. So Sutton's not a concern for me. I'm just worried about who's Pittsburgh play?
The Jets.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to sheesh. I guess I will change my mind and I'll take CD out, put Williams in.
I don't know, man. Who's Sauce Gardner going to be on? Because if that's Deontay, then I'll go CD.
Actually, that's another great point. So, yeah, I'm going back to where I was.
We have helped you so much, Perry.
Sutton, Williams.
We have helped so much.
I'm taking out.
Poor guy hung up already.
Jesus Christ, people, put in your lineups. I don't even know what's going on. I got people. Oh, I yelled at them too. I didn't know that was on caps.
Take a tackle.
God bless me.
Like, what the hell? 1 second here.
Same with me. I'll talk so you can do what you're doing. I like Dortch, but I wonder what Rondale Moore coming back in does to him. I also wonder how effective Rondale Moore is going to be. But let's be real. The best wide receiver here by a mile is Chris Godwin. And if he's active, I'm playing him.
Yes, same here. Bryce?
Yeah, I answered.
Oh, did you? Sorry, I was.
Yeah. No, I
got people telling me that they forgot to put people in their lineup.
That sounds like their problem.
So, yeah, it's too bad. I already switched one for them earlier because they told me before, like after it locked, but the game hadn't started yet.
How the hell are we losing this football game?
Keeping Lenny at 2. My fault. It's Philly. It's all good. Patty, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, or Jamal Williams. Pick 2. It's Barkley and Jonathan Taylor for me.
Yeah, that's not even close for me.
I just saw confirmation that Cole Beasley had been activated for Tampa Bay versus Kansas City. That's another target for Brady and could be another player to take targets from Mike Evans. Yeah, there's just a lot going on there now with everybody back.
I'm not sure why they activated Cole Beasley, to be honest with you.
I think Russell Gage hasn't been playing well. And I think Cole Beasley could take his spot.
Didn't he just have like 11 catches?
Yeah, he had 11 catches last week.
I know, but like when they're all active, like he got how many targets did he get? Like there's nobody else to throw to. Like when they're all active, Russell Gage.
But Beasley was active that game.
He had a couple of drops.
Beasley was active too.
Drops. I know, but
I think he only had 12 targets. I think he caught 11 to 12 targets.
But he had a couple. I think he had 2 drops in that game. Beasley was only with the organization for like 2 days and got out there. So I mean, I'm gonna give him a little bit of break.
I think you are just a Beasley homer because you
I
kind
don't
of
like Beasley that much.
You're like the same height. You're both white, and I think you have this Beasley connection in this conversation.
I don't
know why Beasley's active either.
I just think that Russell Gage isn't as good as I thought he was.
Barry says I'm still here. That was his question. I think I'm going CD Lamb here now. I think Sully convinced me to switch. I don't know who Sauce Gardner is going to guard, but I don't want to play that receiver. I said earlier, like, I don't typically go with matchups. There are very few shutdown corners. I think Sauce Gardner is one of those already 4 games into his career. I don't want that. So I think I'm sitting Deontay here out of this group if that's the concern. So, but I have a lot of shit to fix. So we don't have any more questions.
While you do that?
We don't have any more questions. We're at the end.
I have a question. What the hell is Minnesota doing?
This one.
Choose 2, DK, McLaurin, Cooks, or Samuel. Do you think McCaffrey will play today? Is Kareem Hunt a good flex play this week? This is a lot all in one.
Yes and yes to the last 2.
Yes and yes to the last 2. And then I'm going with DK and Cooks. And I'm going with Samuel and DK.
I'm also going Samuel and DK.
I'm going DK.
Wait. Stop. It is very important. Is this Debo or Curtis? Because if it's Debo, I'm going DK and Samuel. If it's Curtis, I'm going Cooks and DK.
Agree.
Yes, I also assumed it was Debo for some reason. I bet it's Curtis Samuel. That's probably why I put him last. I'll go DK and Cooks.
All right. That brings us to the end of this week's show. Got a lot of stuff to fix. We got all your questions in. Don't forget to come back next Sunday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and we will be here to answer all your start sit questions. Any questions you got about week 5, we will be here for you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We got a bunch of content dropping this week. All kinds of it, like 5 videos a day. Be here or I don't know, lose your fantasy league. What's a better option?
It's a pretty easy decision, isn't it?
Pretty easy.
Easy. Oh.
Later. Good luck.